Hey, what's up YouTube? Down on the Smartphone Guy coming back at you with another video, and tonight I want to share with you my first 24-hour impressions of the LG Stylo 3 Plus. So this is a device that I'm kind of messing with over here, and the reason why I'm messing with it is because I wanted to go into the home screen and change it to the stock launcher here. So this is the launcher it comes with. So we'll jump into that in just a second. So this is a phone that I picked up last Friday, so about a week ago now, but I've only been using it for the last 24 hours. So this is more of a first impressions video, full review to come in a week or so, maybe a couple weeks, because I have another device on the way, the HTC U11. So with that being said, let's jump into my thoughts on this phone. So this is available on T-Mobile and Metro PCS. I picked it up for $225 at T-Mobile. It is also available at Metro PCS for $180. And I will mention, just because this might get a little confusing for some people, but the Stylo 3 Plus is only available on T-Mobile and Metro PCS. The Stylo 3, so get rid of that plus, is available on Cricket Wireless and Boost Mobile. The differences being that this one has a full HD display, so we're talking about 1080p here, versus on the regular Stylo 3 you only get a 720p display. And just for a little bit of reference, here's another LG phone with a 720p display versus an LG phone with a 1080p. And there's definitely a noticeable difference, at least in my eyes. I can see a difference between what you're looking at on the screen. Now, in day-to-day usage, is it going to be a huge difference getting a 1080p display? No, it's just nicer to look at. The other major difference being that the regular Stylo 3 only has 16 gigs of storage, whereas this one has 32 gigs of onboard storage available. So that's really nice. So we do have a 13 megapixel camera up on the back and a 5 megapixel camera up front, and then this one's also fast charging capable, but the Stylo 3 is also fast charging capable. Now I want to mention real quick the cameras, because this is the LG K20 Plus, another phone that's available on Metro PCS and T-Mobile as well. This one has the same cameras, I believe. So if you look over here on the K20 Plus, we have 13 and 5 as well. And I'm pretty sure that this one has the same camera, so we'll talk about the cameras on this phone. But in some cases, I'll actually be referencing the K20 Plus, just because I've done a lot more pictures with that phone. So anyways, in the box, what you get with the Stylo 3 Plus basically is not much. You're going to get some booklets, which I already kind of slid out of there. You get the battery. It's a 30,080 milliamp hour battery, so 3080. We get their fast charging brick, which is really nice. So some phones that are fast charging capable don't always come with the bricks that are fast charging, but this one does. So we got a 1.8 amp fast charger there. And we have a micro USB here for charging it, so micro USB cable. And yes, I'm kind of shocked. I just would have thought that with this being at least a mid-range phone for LG, that it would have included Type-C, but they didn't. So anyways, that's the one thing that's the first thing I would change about it. Not that micro USB is terrible, it's just, it seems like by now it should have had Type-C. Just my opinion, obviously. So let's go ahead and jump around the phone and talk about what the build quality is like. So I do have a tempered glass screen protector on it. It's that kind that is raised up off of the phone, so you will not get this black piece up front or down here. It looks slightly different. You can kind of see what it would look like maybe up here. But anyways, I have that tempered glass screen protector on it. So we got a plastic back. It is very removable. We have our power button and fingerprint sensor, which, let's go ahead and look at that real quick. So the fingerprint sensor works quite well. So I'll go ahead and turn it off and turn it on. So the fingerprint sensor works well. It's just not the fastest response. But overall, it's very doable for a mid-range phone. There are definitely mid-range phones that have faster responsive fingerprint sensors, but this one's pretty good, I think, in my opinion. And I'm gonna go ahead and remove the back so you guys can see it. Like I said, this is a plastic back, so definitely not the most premium build quality at all, but still not bad. So we have an NFC chip, which is really nice. I'm glad that they included that. We have our speaker down here. And then we have our nano SIM slot, and right above that is the micro SD slot. I do not have a micro SD card in there at the moment, just because I haven't had to use it in my first 24 hours yet. So like I mentioned, there's the power button fingerprint sensor. We got our flash there, 13 megapixel camera on the back. On the front, that 1080p display. On the top, we just have a microphone and probably the star of the show, the stylus, which is really nice. And this is super nice. I love it that you can just kind of, the phone's technically not even turned on, and I can go in and write one of these quick memos. That is a lot of fun. So I'm just a big fan of that. I like it. I've never really used it on the Note, but for some reason I feel like I'll end up using it on the Stylo 3 Plus a little bit more. So we have, whoops, didn't snap that all the way. So we have our 3.5 millimeter headphone jack, another microphone, and our micro USB on the bottom along the sides. We just have that volume rocker, and on the right-hand side, turn that display off, we don't have anything except the spot where I'm gonna pull the back cover off and our stylus up here. So overall, not the most premium build quality, but not too bad either. So in terms of performance, I actually didn't run Geekbench on here yet, but so I'm not going to do it now just because that would take a little while. But so far, I would say the phone is pretty responsive. We have a Snapdragon 435 processor with 2 gigs of RAM, and so far I would say in my usage it's been pretty good. The one area that I've had an issue with, and I people joke around, I always play NBA Jam, but notice that for some reason, I don't know why, but that's like the one app that I've had that just will not open on this phone. So really strange, but every other game I've tried out on the phone has worked just fine. So where's the game that I've been playing a lot on here? Beach Buggy Racing. Yeah, so that game is kind of a relatively graphic intensive game, and it runs really fluidly on the phone. So I would say overall so far, the processor seems very capable. So we can go ahead and just kind of jump in here, play a quick game. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to spend any money on you. Sure, you can see I haven't played a whole lot. But yeah, so overall graphics work well. I haven't seen any frame rate drops on this game. Now, obviously this is not the most graphic intensive game, but overall performance seems pretty darn snappy on the phone so far. That one issue just being the NBA Jam, I'm not even sure what's going on with that, but just not working out for me real well. So you can see there's no capacitive buttons on the bottom. We just have our software keys there for switching it. So performance, not bad so far. Let's jump into the software. So in terms of software, of course, we have LG's skin on here. So when you get the phone out of the box, we're going to get it with this tab view actually. So that's what that looks like. So tab view just kind of gives you the tab notifications. I'm not a huge fan of that, so I always switch it to list view. So that's the first thing I always change with any LG phone I ever get, because I'm just not a huge fan of LG's software. And then you come down here. I will mention before I get into some other issues with the software. And by the way, it's not bad software. It's just not my favorite. Where is it at? Software info. Okay, so this is running Android 7.0 with the April patch. LG is typically pretty good, especially with the stylos, about updating it. So I would expect this eventually to get Android O. Eventually, obviously, it's not going to be one of the first phones to get it, but my guess is that it will have it eventually. So the second thing I always change, so I always change the list to the list view. And then the second thing I always like to change on any LG phone is, where's it at? Home screen. Okay, so when you get it out of the box, it's going to come as home as the default. So I always switch it definitely to home plus the app drawer. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that. So really the only difference there being that it has the app drawer, which is nice. So it's going to take it a second. So there you go. Now I have an app drawer. That's nice. But like I said, not a huge fan of LG software, so I always, of course, switch it. And this is also true of any other phone, so to be fair, it's not just this phone, but I always use Nova Launcher on any device that I am using. I just prefer it, and I can theme it up a lot. But with that being said, let me also mention that LG does include a lot of themes in the box, so that's kind of cool. So there's some themes here, but then also you can pick up a lot of different themes on LG Smart World, which is pretty cool. So I'm going to go back to the Home plus App Drawer option. And there's LG Smart World. Tons of themes available on there, which is really nice. Let's get back into the software. There we go. Okay, so some other software tweaks that you might be interested in. So the display, we do have down here, double tap to knock on the screen. We have that screensaver option available as well. And let's see, what does that display size do? That's one I'm not really, okay. So that just changes the size of the icons and the text. Let's see, what else can we look at here that might be of interest? So we have some pin options here. So that's what happens when you pull the pen out. So the default is pen pop, and you can change it to pop memo or nothing happens when you pull the pen out, which I'm not sure why you would want that. And then also we can change what apps open up under pen pop. So you can see the ones that I currently have. The ones that are defaulted are the first 4 that you see here. I just added Quick Memo Plus, but you can pretty much, you know, have it open up anything as shortcuts. So that's kind of cool. And let's see what else here. So in terms of storage out of the box, you're actually going to get a little bit, right around 23 gigs of storage that's going to be available when you first get it out of the box. So that's kind of nice. In terms of battery life, so this is a 30,080 milliamp hour battery. So far, it seems like it's pretty good battery. I was able to get through the full day. I actually charged it. You can see it's nearly 3 in the morning at the moment. So for me, I easily got through a full day. So that's good. I'm getting about 5 hours of screen on time, but again, that's only 1 day of usage. So it's really hard to make any kind of judgment calls right now about the battery, but so far it seems pretty good. So 30,080 milliamp hours seems like it's going to get you through a day, at least so far for me. In terms of RAM, we have 2 gigs of RAM, kind of already mentioned that. And multitasking, it's not going to be the fastest. Let's see if it jumps back into the game. Yeah, it had to reload the game. Not surprising there because I was kind of in the middle of a race when it happened. Let's see. So NBA Jam won't even work. Let's jump into something that I used quite a while ago. Let's see if, yeah, so it's going to reload. So in terms of RAM management, obviously with only 2 gigs of RAM, it's going to be kind of killing apps in the background pretty quick, but that's pretty normal. So anyways, 2 gigs of RAM, jump back into the settings and see if there's anything else we need to talk about. So we do have tap and pay, of course, because this does have NFC. And I think that's about it. Nothing else. Oh, so we have the fingerprint sensor, of course. Let's see if there's any extra settings within the fingerprint sensor. So I'm going to go ahead and I'll just show you. It doesn't matter if you see my pin. Okay. That's about it. Yep, nothing special with the fingerprint sensor. All right, so I guess we'll go ahead and jump now into the cameras. So in terms of cameras, again, we have that 13 megapixel camera on the back and 5 megapixel camera on the front. So you can see we're at the selfie right now. So I will switch that up. Actually, go back. And where's it at? How do I switch it? Oh, there it is. All right, so there's our 13 megapixel camera on the back. I'll go ahead and show you a few of the pictures that I took. Pretty limited pictures. These were actually taken in the dark. So it was around sunset time. I believe I took that around 8:30 at night. So it was starting to get kind of dark. Same thing with that one. I did not have HDR turned on, so took some pretty nice pictures there. Here's a picture. Now I will say that so far it seems like the camera's kind of slow to focus, to autofocus. So that was one thing I noticed. It takes a little while for it to get focused, but it takes decent pictures. It's not going to be mind-blowingly good by any means. In terms of the video camera, you're able to get full HD, but no 4K. So if I go in here to the video resolution, you can see that HD and full HD are the 2 options that we have there. That's with the rear camera. If I switch it around to the front camera, we'll see what we have available here. So again, full HD it looks like is going to be an option, and HD. And let's take a look at our modes here. So modes, we just have auto and panorama. It looks like are the only 2 that are available there. And sometimes if you slide to the side, nope, that just switches it. Oh, so we'll go one more time. All right, and then up here we just have some options for sharing. So camera-wise, I'm going to say you're going to get decent pictures, but certainly not the greatest. And I'm going based off of the fact that I think these 2 have the same cameras. So low light performance isn't going to be fantastic, but not terrible. It's doable. We'll call it that. But hey, and by the way, I will mention, I'll leave a link down in the description, Tony Pazzo, friend of mine, he did a very in-depth review of the cameras of this phone. So I'll go ahead and leave a link down in the description if you're interested in checking out his video and getting a little bit more in-depth look at the cameras. Like I said, I'll also be doing a little bit more in-depth look in my full review. So with that being said, if you have any questions about the LG Stylo 3 Plus, go ahead and leave those down in the comment section. If you're new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button, and I'll be doing more comprehensive coverage of the LG Stylo 3 Plus here in the next couple weeks. So with that being said, thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace. Alright, so I got done with the previous video and realized that I had forgotten to do one thing that I always like to do in my first impressions videos, and that is do the speaker test. So we need to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to go ahead and open up my music app here. Google Play Music, that's my app of choice. I was listening to a podcast a little bit earlier. And let's see here, go into my music library and we'll find some more upbeat music. Now I have it already cranked up, so it should be anyways. So let's listen to some Can't Stop the Feeling, some Trolls. All right, so it is a rear firing speaker and we're gonna crank it right up. It's a pretty loud speaker, honestly. Okay, so that's what it sounds like when it's facing you. Now, I have my microphone actually facing me, and so you're probably not getting the best sound. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to lift it up and put it right up to my microphone so you guys can really get a good idea of what it sounds like. Okay, so obviously being rear firing is not ideal. It is actually a pretty loud speaker though, so that's kind of nice. It gets pretty loud. You're not going to have any trouble hearing it unless of course you cover it up on accident while you're listening to it. But it definitely is lacking bass, definitely lacking the low end, which is pretty common on speakers on phones. So with that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace again.